Hello, everybody. This is Logan Cisco from Extemp Central, bringing you another Extemp Central weekly news wrap-up. First things first, we wish everyone competing this week at the Stanford University tournament, which is the only TOC qualifying tournament on the calendar this weekend, the best of luck. If you check out the website, you'll notice that this morning we uploaded the new TOC qual board, which shows that 220 extempers have now qualified for the 2011 Extemp TOC at Northwestern University, and 306 competitors are still looking for their last qualifying leg to become part of the Tournament of Champions. You'll also notice on the website that we now have the NFL Quals 11 tab. When you get the NFL qualifying results from your district, send those to me. We would love to get those on the website so everyone knows who will be competing in Dallas in United States extemporaneous speaking and international extemporaneous speaking. Furthermore, you'll notice furthermore, I'd ask that when state tournaments happen, because those are going to be around the corner as well, that you send me those results, because not only do I want to post those results and update our champions tab on the website, but furthermore, all of state finalists qualify under category 2C for the Extemporaneous Speaking Tournament of Champions. And so I'll be able to update the qual board when we get those state results in. So send me NFL district results, state results, and of course any local results that are still out there. And I would love to post those on the website throughout next week. This is a busy week as far as the last several weeks go, because not only is it the end of the regular season for the Extemp TOC qualifying tournaments for those extempers seeking to qualify under Category 3, but it's also nearing the end of the regular season in the national points race. Harvard and the California Invitational will take place next weekend, and those will be the last two regular season tournaments that exist in the national points race. Harvard will be a third-tier tournament. Anyone who makes the quarterfinals or quarterfinal round, will earn points. Forgot my own point system there for a second. And anyone who makes the final round at the California Invitational will earn points. Cal is only a fifth-tier tournament that is likely to change next year, but we will stick by the system we established early on, just to be fair to everyone, and therefore the Cal Invitational is a fifth-tier tournament. So the winner of Harvard earns 100 points, the winner of Cal earns 40. And I'm sorry to my friends on the West Coast, but that's the way the season will be done. But hey, it can't bias people too much, because last year Jacob Baker from California won the national points race, so we're not in too bad a shape. Now, to continue the line of questioning and questions that I have from viewers, and anytime that you have any questions about Extemp, you can send them to me at logan.cisco@topper.wku.edu. You can find that email on our website. Further, we've looked at some of the questions that have come in, and the one this week that we'll talk about is another question about topic areas. This one comes from Julian, and he asks about two topic areas. The first is regional conflicts, and the second is global challenges and opportunities. Now, the regional conflicts topic area can kind of be redefined as international hotspots, or areas of the world that are experiencing a great deal of conflict. The first one that likely comes to mind among a lot of extempers is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and how that involves a lot of Middle Eastern nations. You have the turmoil in Egypt and Israel fearing how that's going to impact Egyptian foreign policy towards them, towards the Gaza Strip, towards the Palestinian leadership, and how it might embolden Muslim radicals throughout the Middle East. But Israel also has problems now in Lebanon, now that Hezbollah has taken control of the government there. Israel also has to watch the situation in Jordan carefully and how that could turn out. You also have to worry about the possibility of a nuclear exchange down the line between Israel and Iran. Extempers cannot forget the tumultuous situation in Latin America, where Venezuela continues to try to exercise its influence, and how its tensions with Colombia still remain high. You also have to look at China and India's rivalry in Asia. India's new security doctrine is looking to not only position forces against Pakistan, but also to be able to squelch domestic threats while at the same time confronting China, because India recognizes that containing China is vital to its national interests in the long term. And that is kind of a Cold War in Asia that I think is bound to heat up within the next decade, especially with the United States having an ally in India and wishing to preserve that alliance to counterbalance some of China's ties in the region. The Korean Peninsula, of course, is another regional conflict, because not only does that involve both nations, but it involves Russia, it involves China, but it also involves Japan, which might seek a nuclear deterrent if North Korea continues to become belligerent towards South Korea and other neighbors. And even though both nations are trying to work out some kind of understanding in recent talks, those appear to be going nowhere. And as I posted on the R&D this morning, a foot and mouth outbreak could devastate some of North Korea's remaining food supply, which might make North Korea more belligerent to get some international aid. So all of those areas are prime targets for the regional conflicts topic area, but also the Democratic Republic of the Congo as they continue to try to root out rebels in the eastern half of the country, and Sudan, of course, after its recent election. So pay attention to those areas. On global challenges and opportunities, this is another broad topic area. This is kind of what NFL throws out there as the global issues round. And not only do you focus on problems here, but also what things the world has done well over the last year or so. A couple of things come to mind here. The first, of course, is climate change. Developing nations want more action on climate change, but there are political forces in the developed world that don't want to sign on to any accord that does not bind China and India. You also have to look at the Millennium Development Goals and how some nations in the developing world are making progress towards infant mortality, literacy rates, fighting communicable diseases, etc. However, other nations are falling short, and whether foreign aid needs to be increased. And the foreign aid issue is a huge issue right now, as the Republicans in the Senate, led by people like Rand Paul, are looking to cut back on foreign aid allotments as part of their budget cutting program, and whether or not the U.S. does that in other nations that are suffering from some forms of fiscal distress, and whether or not they make a move on that foreign aid. Furthermore, you have the international community looking at nuclear proliferation, terrorism. All of these topics can come under the purview of this global issues round. So for this extemporists really should look in their files. What is the world meeting about? What are they trying to do? And a lot of times these questions will ask about what progress has been made. So you really should try to emphasize what progress has been made over the last year. Once again, this has been another Extemp Central Weekly News Wrap-Up. We hope to bring you more news and updates next week. And again, any questions, please email me at logan.cisco@topper.wku.edu.